Hello, hello. Hi, everybody. Happy Monday afternoon. We're going to keep working on the game from this morning. I believe we're working from a clean starting point. Yeah. So we're going to add in some things. We're going to probably use some AI for this. The first thing was adding in the room transitions. Yeah. So let's do this. When the player in the Dungeon Racer subgame goes down the staircase, it should instantiate a room2.tscn underneath the rooms node, and it should do so, and it should mask this transition with a fade to and from black. Okay, plan. Hey, Jeff Alton, how you doing? How's everything been? And hey, ABC. Test received. All right, so there were two things I wanted to get done with. Transition from normal to endless. So we need to, at some point, make it so you can bomb a wall. We don't really need the bombing a wall part, but we need to figure out what it means to change. So, like, you have room 1, room 2, and then, like, the bomb room, I guess. And then it becomes endless. What happens if you die in the bomb room? Maybe we just respawn you into a respawn room. So, like, the bomb room itself should become endless. How's that going to work? Something's got to open up to the right. I didn't think about this. Yeah, so like you bomb the left wall. You need to run to the right. What would prevent you from running to the right to begin with? Maybe you're forced to die there. Oh man, I didn't think about this. That's actually kind of interesting. Yeah, what if you bomb that wall and the whole dungeon falls away and you die, and when you come back, now you're in this new world where like the dungeon just starts falling away. All right, I like this idea. It also makes the transition a little bit easier, I guess, and shows you that falling makes you die, which up until then you would never have seen, presumably. We need the room to fall apart pretty quickly, I think. Or maybe there is a way out, but it's kind of secret. I don't know. Yeah, I kind of like this idea. Then you would respawn in we'll just call it a respawn room where the dungeon is endless from there. I think this could work. I think it could work. I don't like, there's no penalty to dying in this particular case, especially it's a forced death. Like these happen in games a lot of times, but it doesn't feel the best when you're forced to die. I think in this particular case, it's kind of funny that it happened. So let's see how it feels. We'll suss that out in playtesting. All right, so transition from room 1 to room 2 when the player enters the staircase, masking the room swap with symmetric fade to and from black. Add shared scene transition, screen transition, update Dungeon Racer, ignore duplicate staircase callbacks, fade to black, while fully black, instantiate this. Oh, nice, move the player to the player spawn position. Fade from black, keep existing room 1 and staircase event flow unchanged, introduce no new public APIs. Yeah, okay. Yeah, implement this. Hey, Vibe, yeah, lunch was good. I had rice and dal and an apple. All right. Yeah, it was very good. My wife didn't like it very much. We got it from like essentially a restaurant. think she's pickier than I am, though, when it comes to Indian food. I wonder if I should look at these 10 notifications that are collecting up here. No, I'll save it for afterward. All right, what am I doing here? I wanted to finish planning this. Yeah, I think we'll do the forced dying way. I think that's fine. So we need the room to fade away. Let's write this down over here. Once you get bombs, you use them on a cracked wall and the floor crumbles away. You are expected to die in this room. This is for 2 reasons. I guess you just write rationale here. Rationale, we teach the player that falling is game over, and we make it easier as developers to transition between the normal dungeon and the endless one. We can respawn you in a dedicated respawn room and kick it off from there. Am I on Soul? Yeah, I'm on Soul right now. And yeah, getting rid of the 5-hour window. Man, one of the things that I thought was really dumb about having a 5-hour window is you need to trigger some prompt to start the window. So like I wake up at whatever, let's say 6:30 or something. And then my work time is generally like 8 to 11, maybe like 12:30 to 3:30 or something like that. Like this spans more than one 5-hour window. So I want to make sure that I've got one starting before this and then maybe starting at like lunchtime so that it continues here. So that if I wanted to work in the evening, I have like another 5-hour window in the evening. It's just silly to manage it that way for me. It makes sense for them if they have limited compute resources. But yeah, as a user, it's not user friendly. Now, granted, they did the same thing with their weekly quota. You now have to trigger this. So for example, I took Thursday and Friday off. I didn't know about this. And then I didn't touch my computer on Saturday. So on Sunday, I finally looked and I'm like, oh, I wonder what my quota is. And yeah, I saw that there was the weekly one. I didn't realize the 5-hour one was gone. So then I ran some simple query just to kick it off. So I technically lost like 3 days of quota. I don't like that, but I don't know if that was a one-time thing or if that's going to be every week moving forward. Hey, Jost. But yeah, in terms of quality yet, I haven't really been doing too much. Once we get to coding, I mean, this is some of the coding that we have here. So this is done. Let's go try it out. Hey, Rova. Knows that as well with the 5-hour cap. Yeah, it's just frustrating. But hey, they did away with that. And yeah, just having one quota should be pretty good. Hey, this felt nice. Let's try that again. But I want to see, can we move while we are transitioning screens? Yeah, we can. Okay, we should not allow the player to move. Don't allow the player to move while transitioning between floors. All right, let's plan that. Yeah, this worked well. I can go validate this, but I don't think there's too much to really validate here, right? We have a screen fade now. If transitioning rooms return. Oh, I said it's a true. Create the tween. On tween callback. Make the new room. Yeah, this looks pretty reasonable. And then here we added in a screen fade, I'm guessing. Yep. Reasonable. So now what I'm guessing will happen is, the way I would code this at least, is when transitioning, I would tell the player that it is transitioning and just disable input. I expect that's what this thing probably came up with. Yeah, set control locked bool. I don't know about, whoops. I don't know about that. Set control locked. We do it in one place. There are actually a couple different ways that we do this. It's still writing the plan. Here we go. Set control locked. Yeah, we have set player input enabled. Set control locked. I think I prefer set player input enabled. Because we use that in 2 games? No, we don't. We only use it in 1. So we just have 2 different functions for these, and we use different things depending on the game. That's not good. Do we have something for the top-down shooter? player input enabled. Yeah, we do. It's is input enabled. And this is just a property. All right, we might need to make this consistent. Yeah, I mean, this sounds fine. So sure, implement this. Then I'll probably have it refactor. All right, have the game transition. And then make the bombing room. It should force you to die. Make tiles like shake and then fade/fall. Having them fall, maybe they just shrink. Yeah, maybe they just shrink. I don't know how we'll do the shaking. And then is input enabled. Refactor is input enabled. Set player input enabled. And set control locked to be one consistent style. Right now, there's a mix of names and functions/properties. All right, this thing should be done, right? Shouldn't take that long. Yeah, test pass, whatever. Let's run it. So now when you walk into the staircase, you just can't continue to move after that until you're done transitioning. Yeah, that feels pretty good. Well, the fade in, I don't like that. I'll fix that myself, though. Hey, Illusionary Moon, how you doing? All right, this is done. Let's go take a look. So there's set control locked false. Once you're in the new room, that's where we want to do this. So we set you into the new room and then do this. Let's try it. So when you're still going down the stairs, it's going to stop you. But then in the new room, you can move immediately. Yeah, I like that. I think that's pretty good. Sounds good. Great. This is a slightly weird way of doing things here too. If is control locked, return and set control lock so the velocity 0. That's fine, I think. All right, so allow transitioning between rooms. Then yeah, we will make this thing. Oh, why is that bold? Why is that bold? Why is this bold? Huh? Yeah, what? Was it always bold? I don't remember that. Refactor is input enabled, set player input enabled, and set control lock to be one consistent style. Right now there's a mix of names and function/properties. You know, I did a refactoring task the other day with AI, and I found that it used way more quota than it uses for other kinds of tasks. I guess it makes sense because you got to look through more of the code base maybe, but I hope this isn't going to burn through like a ton of quota. If you think about it, if you have 100% of anything and you want to split it over a work week, that means about 20% per day, assuming you use it uniformly. And this is much easier for you to budget than when you have a 5-hour and a 7-day quota. So yeah, 20% per day. We're halfway through the day and we've used 7%. So that's, that's not bad. Then again, I didn't really do a lot of AI stuff in the morning, so we'll probably use more of it now. You do have a few usage resets. Wait a second, what? I looked at this. I didn't see any because I didn't even know this was a thing until recently. Where do you find those? Because I don't think I have any. I only signed up like a month and a half ago, I think. Open the sidebar. See under usage remaining. You mean over here? Let me go take a look at that. Because I would have expected to see it on the website somewhere. But anyway, let me take a look in the app. And it does not want to let me move this on. Whoa, 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 whoa. I just moved the menu. Hang on a second. 4 resets available. What? What? Really? Really? That's pretty cool. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I didn't think I had those. I looked for them the other day and I couldn't find them. But I was looking on the site. So they call them resets. And they don't mention resets on here. I mean, other than the word reset right there, but that's not the same. Huh. Interesting. Yeah, I think I was looking on the site for it. Well, that's good to know. Thank you, Vipov. I appreciate that. Because I think that's a great idea. I don't know if Claude did that. Which single input control API should all affected player and game classes use? Set input enabled method uses positive semantics everywhere and preserves side effectful transitions as explicit method calls. Yeah, sure. Let's do this. Wow, neat. So I have like a month of free usage practically. They don't mention how you get those resets, do they? Where? How does this work? They expire after 30 days? Where do you get these? Pull the expiry date from their API. I don't know when they expire right now. Okay, I got to figure this out. Because that's huge. Look into Codex reset tokens. They apparently expire after 30 days. And there's an API to find out when that expiry is. Where's the link here? What is this link to? Check your usage, resets, limits, and more with one CLI command. Local Python CLI for checking. There's no just built-in command for this stuff? That's weird. I wonder if they publish any other information. Yeah, that's weird. There's no official like codex documentation or something. Developers.openai.com. Did they talk about reset? I sent you the curl command I used to get the reset times on Discord. All right, thank you. I will take a look at that after the stream probably. Yeah, I want to see if they mentioned, like, how do you get these tokens? Did they just choose to give them out manually, or am I getting these like every month and I haven't been using them? All right, replace mixed input control APIs with set input enabled methods. Preserve all existing behavior. This is an API naming refactor only. Give each affected player an is input enabled true backing field. Expose set input enabled. Rename farming games public. Set input enabled. Preserve transition side effects. Update every caller. Okay, yeah, implement the plan, I guess. Hey, Stockton. Hey, Goose. You get them when they reset for everyone, typically after they discover usage bug or something? So it's possible I had these before and didn't realize it. Wow. And if I find out that they expire in like 3 days or something, I should probably run this command soon. Let me just go find this now. Okay, give me a sec. Oh, wow. Okay. I don't think there's anything private here, but I'm going to just paste this over here. Whoops. So I meant to paste, but that's just the command. That's fine. I should put that in the document. All right, so the expired at times are here, 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 and here, which I assume are 1 month after all the granted at times. Is that correct? Yeah, pretty much. Looks like 30 days. So that means that I got them as early as June 18th. Yeah, I was probably granted them before this then too and just didn't get them. So then July 18th, that means that I have 5 days. So I can use the reset on, wait, how does this make sense? My normal time ends July 19th. So on the 15th, I could reset it manually. Then it won't reset on the 19th again. Hey, Algamira, you don't code manually anymore? I still do, just not as much. I just don't see much of a reason to when, like, AI is going to do pretty much everything faster and it's going to be pretty much the same quality. I'm going to review it anyway. So, yeah, that's the last question I think I have for this. Like, let's say my week would normally end in 5 days. If I use a reset token now, does it end in 5 days still or in 7 days? Afraid it goes to 0 or changes the date. Yeah. Because if it doesn't change the date, then it doesn't make sense for me to use a reset unless I burn through all of it like right now. Is this sort of AI coding only for seniors? No, I mean, I think you can use it as a junior engineer as well. It's just you need to be able to review the code afterward. Hey, Bringo. Same quality. I mean, I'm looking over the code. It's pretty much what I would do. A lot of times I think it's because I'm still thinking of how I would do something and then I tell the AI to go do it that way. So yeah, I don't really see a dip in quality. Then again, one of the nice things about the particular game that I'm working on right now is it's really a collection of sub games. So each individual change is kind of contained to just like a fifth of the game or a fourth of the game or something like that. And not, 80% of the game. I like look through all of this stuff. I don't know how much that would impact me. Hey, Mr. D-Boy. Yeah, so I got to figure out how that works. I'll try to look this up. Main question, it's this that I have written here. I closed it, didn't I? If the week ends in 5 days and I use a reset, does that change the date? If so, it means I need to burn through a lot of usage in the next day or two. Reset. And then, or if not, yeah. And then use the remaining original week. Or vice versa. All right, is this done? Not quite yet. No. This is just a refactoring. All right, so have the game put you in room 2. We're done with that. We're working on this right now. Then the bombing room. So I don't want to do this for real. I want to work on the tiles falling away. And I have an idea for how I want to do this. I don't even think we need a shader for this at all. I think we can just take each individual tile and like shake it a little bit and then fade it out and shrink it. Yeah. The shaking it could modify the collision though. So maybe we just shake its sprite. Maybe we just shake the tiles sprites. If we shook the whole thing, it would modify the collision. Which isn't necessarily a problem. You would, like the way that you work your way through this dungeon is you're working from left to right. And the left tiles are falling out of the world. So if you're standing right here and this tile starts to fall, or the one to the left of it starts falling and it nudges you a little bit, you're about to die anyway. So like you have to get away from this. It's not probably going to be that hard to do. I don't think it's going to be like a super tricky game or something. This is probably a mistake to run right now because I don't actually need this right now. And I just saw this as a task that needs to be done. It is just about to finish though. All right, let's read through the code. This is really just a naming change, and in some cases, we flip a Boolean. So like instead of set player input enabled, it's just set input enabled. So this should be very fast to review. Because like I said, mostly naming changes. In fact, it wouldn't even build if we didn't change the name everywhere. Now this is different. So all the Booleans need to flip because control locked sounds negative. Input enabled sounds positive. So yeah, so far, this is fine. That's fine. Yep, that's all good. Now we keep track of this instead and do a not here. Yep, totally fine. This is also fine. Set current player. This got moved, but I think this only got moved because of how an auto formatter puts it in a different spot. Init also got moved. Oh, wait a second. Init got moved though because of my agents.md saying put init below ready. Huh, that's kind of cool. But this presumably still exists somewhere, right? Yeah, it does. Banked resets, reset your weekly usage. They do not change the day of your usage reset. Okay. Can you share the link for that? I do want to write this down. Add this to my notes. All right, let me finish reviewing the rest of this. So this, we just got to press space, space, and then save. Why was that ever up there in the first place? Oh, because it came from an interface, right? No, what? Interface function should go up here, but this wasn't an interface function. I don't know why that was ever there to begin with. All right, well, we could just still put it above dialog completed. Although I'm not a big fan of that. Dialog completed. What is it called? It's apparently not called dialog completed. I misread it. Dialog completed. Why couldn't I find that? Oh, with the UE at the end. Okay, got it. Because it's the text dialog. All right, is it gonna get moved? No. This is from my assumption of his Twitter post and using a reset just now. Oh, I see. Okay, cool. Well, look, thank you for all this information. I appreciate this. There is a point. After I test it for myself. Yeah, so since this is going to expire regardless, I should definitely go all in on AI in the next couple of days, huh? This number doesn't update very frequently, though. It's probably not 93% anymore, right? Yeah, it's 91. I don't know how you get that to update. Maybe if you turn off status and start it again. No, it still says 93. It probably just updates every once in a while. All right, well, let's keep looking through this. Give me the diff. All right, so init just got moved. This is actually fine, but it's technically not part of this commit. So if we want to, we remember that farming game should be checked in 2 stages. But all the rest of this should be naming changes. Yeah, that's where the init function got moved from. Prevent the key from having to move to you. Oh, yeah. That was written kind of poorly. But yeah, looks good. Yeah, this is such a simple thing. Yeah, this is very, very simple. His input enable got deleted from there. That looks good. Yep, cool, great. And it got put underneath here. That's another change. So farming game and what is this that we're in? Town. Farming game and town both need to be checked in separately. Oh, and that's a thing that doesn't need to be public, right? Yeah. So we make that private. Farming game town. You got to remember those. Farming game town. Oh, and then also I should paste this in here. Hey, Engage. How's the game going? It's going pretty well. The last thing that I finished, I'll show you in just a sec. I am pretty happy with the quality of so far. Well, I say finished. Nothing's ever really totally done because I'm prepping for playtesters. Playtesters might find some issue with it and there might be bugs or any other polish we want to add. But I'll show you the last thing that we got done with, which was the loot boxes game. So this, what is going on with the controller here? Hang on a sec. This is the new game that we started working on today, so there's almost nothing here yet. But the old one that we were working on, this is feeling like a real game. He says, open the treasure chest near me to start earning loot. We can go open it. Then this prompt changes to tell us the next step, which is to get the first perk. There's an arrow pointing at it. Tells you exactly what to get. So we get that. Oh, that is wrong. Hang on a second. The arrow, the hand pointing at, what is it? The portal perk should probably use a process mode instead of physics. I don't think it's as smooth as it could be. Lose the race. The dungeon race? Or in completing the next game. Hey, Grace. Anyway, okay, so then you can set prices on items over here. And customers can come over and buy them. I'll speed this up a little bit. They might not be happy with the price. In this case, they're not. This is a little too high. That's much too high. Now let's try those prices. All right, they were happy with that. We'll get some more customers in here. But they do not like this price. They definitely don't like this. All right, they'll buy that. Nice. So yeah, this is the general game loop for this one. You get some upgrades, you get some loot, you set the prices, you try to find the best price, and then you get some upgrades. And by the end of the game, it looks like... this. Where you're getting tons of treasure chests, tons of loot. I haven't set the prices on any of these things. But eventually the treasure spirit does tell you, like, hey, this is woefully underpriced. So you can try changing it and it'll eventually make this little error go away. Anyway, that's that. Why am I so slow in doing what? Also, I am using AI. I think AI sped things up quite a lot. Maybe add suggested price, because that seems hard to guess. So if you price it too high, customers will be upset at the item. And if you price it too low, there's a perk you can get that'll tell you that the price is too low every once in a while, so that you know that you can price it like way higher. But otherwise, I didn't actually tell you like the gimmick behind this game. But this one in particular, remember this overall game is called Stuck in a Broken Tutorial. So if we, whoops. All right, there we go. So yeah, Stuck in a Broken Tutorial. If you get to that game, all you have to do in this game is get this portal and then leave the game. And that's it. So the suggested price, none of that matters. You can interact with none of it. You can do exactly what I just did right there. Just, yeah, get this perk and leave it. This is the idea behind this. What spawned this idea is I want to see how long people would open loot boxes for if there's no purpose to opening them. And I suspect that a lot of people are going to like fully beat this game without ever just realizing like they could just walk out of it. So that's, yeah, that's the main drive behind that. All right, so all this we're going to check in except for 2 of them. And the 2 were farming game in town. So we want all of that. And then in here, we want to be selective with what we're picking. So how about this? I'll check everything and I'll just uncheck init. As long as init doesn't do anything with input. I don't see anything. Also, even if it does, it doesn't really matter. And then the deletion. Where'd the deletion go? It's going to be over here somewhere. There it is. So I don't want this checked in. Okay. And then town is the other one. So we're going to start by checking everything and then uncheck this. Uncheck this. And then there's one other one. I made something private. Uncheck this. There we go. All right. So there's our commit. So refactor how input is disabled. I was using different styles. function versus property and different names across subgames. All right, so now we have two other changes here. One is the init change. Check that box and that box. Move init higher up in files. Two files now have it right below ready, right? Yeah, that's ready and that's ready. Yeah, nice. And then the final change is make public function private. This is something Ryder pointed out. All right, nice. All right, so back to work on this now. And what time is it? Okay, 36 minutes. So this is finished. Make the bombing room, which would force you to die. So we'll just consider this to be the second room for right now, or maybe even the first room. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. Make tiles shake and then fade and shrink. All right, so in the Dungeon Racer subgame, the game will eventually enter a mode where the floor starts falling away. Oh, what happened? So the floor needs collision, or we need to at least know that those tiles have fallen away. Like the floor doesn't have collision right now. All right, so for now, require the player to press just some button on the controller. It doesn't really matter what. What do we have? Input map. Game specific one. Yeah, we'll just do that. And where is that in the code? Here. Godot string names. Yeah. So for now, require the player to press Godot string names dot this on their controller to trigger this mode. Once triggered, it can't be untriggered. And I'll write in parentheses, we don't need code verifying that. I'm just saying that as an instruction. All right, and then okay, so there is a speed at which we iterate over. Okay, this is gonna be a little bit difficult, right? Because we need to know at any given point which column should be falling away. But I don't want to animate this and keep a bunch of map data in memory if we don't need it in memory. Yeah. Yeah. So here's what I'm picturing. We have a map. And this map gets divided into column numbers. So we could just do something like this for right now. I'm not going to like do all of these. And then at any given time, we say the last, I don't know, physical or last like remaining floor tile column is equal to, I don't know, 4, which would pretty much mean that 1, 2, and 3 have now fallen away. So like these would be out of here. And this would still exist. The player might be all the way over at like 800 or something like that. At which point, we don't want to animate all of these things falling away. So we want to keep track of which floor tile column you're on. The farther right you move, the more you'll advance this. I guess it's pretty much just your x coordinate. So yeah, it's like the x coordinate of the falling tiles. Yeah. Okay, so the floor always starts falling from the left side of the map. We keep track of an x coordinate, an ever increasing x coordinate. Floor tiles at an x lower than that coordinate should enter fall mode. Oh, hey, you can tab these in now. They got like proper. Falling consists of a few stages. Shaking. The tile shakes. Which I guess means like it would rotate a little bit. What would be a convincing way of indicating that it's gonna get deleted? I guess, yeah, it shakes. So just moves in position. It moves in. No, let's just leave it at that. The tile shakes. And then falling, the tile fades and shrinks, and then fell. Or like gone, disappeared. The fading and shrinking is done. All right, so if the player is on a floor tile that, should they be able to be on it while it's falling? No, I don't think so. If the player is on a floor tile that is falling or has disappeared, they should die. How do we want the... How do we want it to repeat the game? Like, I want you to be able to get back into the swing of things pretty quickly. And the top-down shooter when you die... So we go over into this room. And this is at 1x time scale. So like, let's say I'm fighting this enemy and it gets too close and I die. It says game over. This doesn't stay on the screen for too long. It fades out. It fades back in. You're back in the game. You can start playing it again. You get some power-ups, right? You can do it again. In this Dungeon Racer game, I think some indication that like that was it, you fell, is worthwhile to have. I just don't want to do the same thing exactly that we did for this. I guess we don't have that many options, right? What should happen when you die in this game? Option 1, we fade out to a game over screen. You can speed this up by pressing A or something. Option 2, we respawn you in the starter room. I mean, that's it, right? We got to put you back in a starter room. We can't just give you infinite lives. I don't think it'd be fun that way. Or well, not infinite lives at the same starting point. Like wherever you left off, you just pop right back in. Then falling has no penalty. I think I prefer option 1. Oops. Yeah, any game that has you repeat stuff, I think we got to do something like that. Okay, now let's write that down. They should die. This should show game over, like how the top-down shooter does. Disable player input. Fade out, then fade back in with the player in the... However, unlike the top-down shooter. So the top-down shooter resets the entire thing. It just starts you in a new copy of the game. I was thinking there could be a reset point, but I actually don't care about that. With the Dungeon Racer reset. All right, so can the player go left again if they've already gone right? Maybe we have, I don't know how we're going to do this. Yeah. Yeah, maybe we only allow the camera to advance, not to go backwards. Would there be a reason to let it go backwards? There are, I mean, you can imagine a reason. Let's say you're in some room that's like this, and there's a path through it that looks like this, and the camera advances, like you're advancing in this direction. If you have a camera rectangle that is only like this, well, now you can't progress to get to this part of the path, or at least you can't see that. So you'd have to lock the camera here, for example, so that you can go through the whole path and then start advancing it along this tile. But we could just prevent this from happening. We could do a lot of things. And I think that comes down to like, what is the difficulty in the running sections? Is it speed? Is it dexterity? Is it like planning? I don't have an answer for that. I don't know what's going to be the most fun. I think some amount of combat should exist there. And I think I want it to be speed. And if it's going to be speed, then is it speed? Is it difficult to control your speed? Like in racing games, you can hold your finger on the accelerator the entire time, but like you got to turn at some point. You got to avoid obstacles at some point. So is it hard to avoid obstacles? Are there a lot of obstacles or a lot of enemies? I don't know. We'll have to figure that out. But yeah, I think I want it to be speed, maybe some combat, maybe some traps you avoid. Like you take damage 3 times and you die. This should be in plan mode, by the way. Okay, floor starts falling from the left side of the map. We keep track of an ever-increasing x coordinate. Floor tiles at an x coordinate lower than that value should start falling. The players on a floor tile that is falling or has disappeared, they should die. This should show game over, like how the top-down shooter does. Disable player input, fade out, then fade back in with the dungeon racer. With the dungeon racer now reset. Okay. So in order for the floor tiles to be animated individually, we need to... So there are a couple things we could do. We could split them out into their own images, like their own sprite 2Ds or animated sprite 2Ds. We could split them into individual tile map layers. I guess the question is, how many animated tiles will we have? Because like in this, we have this tile, for example, it's spewing water. If we still wanted to spew water in an animated way, we need to do something a little bit differently there. Although I guess it's its own scene. Maybe I should animate a tile and we should test this out. Like traps will probably be some extra node. I don't know. Maybe we don't do anything about it yet. How about we just leave it at that, not describe what the implementation should be? Because this is what we need, right? Yeah. This falling should be done in a way that is performant. The player may be at a much higher x coordinate than where the falling tiles are, such that they're not even visible on screen. At that point, there's no reason to even trigger any animations or map slicing. Yeah, I'll set this to extra high and we'll have it plan this. And yeah, the game will eventually become an endless runner. Maybe we put that here. Eventually become an endless runner. For tiles that will never be visible again. All right, let's just have it plan this and figure this out. So we're going to make it so you press either X or Y. It's going to trigger this state that you get into. And then I want tiles to start falling. And then we'll have done basically both of these things. And then we can just start fleshing out parts of the game, which should be kind of interesting. It's a lot of grunt work. But yeah, like we have the bomb graphics. We need to plan out what the rooms look like a little bit. And if 2 rooms would really be enough. The first one I said there'd be 4 slimes. You need to kill them quickly enough to keep torches lit around them. Otherwise the torches go out and the slimes reform. Key across a pit. You need to do something to spawn arrow tiles. I don't know what the something was. Maybe there are a bunch of switches. Maybe there's a switch that spawns the tiles in different configurations. And then a switch that changes the arrows. I did not think about this too much. You get the key though, then you can go over to the chest. And then yeah, there'd be a bombable wall. I guess it doesn't even need to look bombable, right? What we have in that screenshot is probably good enough. Where is that? In full color. Yeah, here. That could just be the indication that like here's the bombable area. And you bomb it and then the floor starts disappearing. Starts crumbling. In fact, maybe the tiles could crumble going away from this. It's our... Hey, what'd you end up getting for lunch the other day when you were asking me about it? Where'd you end up going? I think we gotta be careful about how we make this crumble away from here, though. Like, I want the wall to be on the left side. Yeah, I think I want to be on the left side. That way it's clear that it's going toward the right side. So we just put a locked door. Yeah. On the wall on the left side. The wall could just be one of those collapsing doors. 5 streams. Nice, Boolean. Hey. To a food truck nearby. Taiwanese popcorn chicken. Ooh. Neat. Yeah, neat. Man, I can't imagine working in a food truck. I mean, I can't imagine doing food service at all because that does not sound like something I would enjoy. My first job, I worked at a grocery store, and being a cashier was just such a draining job for me. I don't want to interact with customers constantly. I wonder if it'd be any different now. Maybe I've changed enough. Yeah, I worked at that job for a while and then eventually switched to pushing carts. And pushing carts, that was totally fine. Didn't have to talk to people. Been there, done that. Don't want to go back. Yeah. I think some people are kind of like made for hospitality though. Like they just like I don't know, the event planning or the I don't know, food service, any of those sorts of things. I don't have that personality type. They're the kinds of people who would like started a bed and breakfast. That's that kind of thing. Like I've been to proper bed and breakfast places where the host is like, "What do you want for breakfast in the morning?" And they wake up and they make you your food. It tastes great. They're really good at cooking. Like you got to have the right personality type for that. Yeah, you want people in your home. All right, what initial collapse timing should the plan lock in? Advance one 16 pixel tile column per second, shake for zero point 0.4 seconds, fade and shrink for 0.6. Sure, whatever. I don't care. This doesn't matter. When the current staircase swaps room 1 for room 2, how should the ever increasing collapse behave? Continuous world. Place each replacement room immediately to the right. Keep rooms at the origin and translate an internal course distance. Reset per room. In the final game, there won't actually be a staircase to transition, so this is sort of a moot point. Yeah. Should the existing top-down shooter game over presentation be extracted for Dungeon Racer to reuse? This is the kind of thing that I like that it's asking me. I don't think the old model would have asked me this. Yeah. This seems like something new in Soul for me. It's possible you could have gotten it to ask you this before. Create one scene on reusable overlay sequence and keep top-down shooters, current timing and appearance unchanged. Yeah, sure. Let's do that. Oh, yeah, and I want to keep status open. Man. Conditional floor collapse. Yeah. You know, someday I want to just remake Redungeon. I just really, really like that game. It was such a cool idea. It almost boiled down to like a memory. It's close to a rhythm game without it all being a rhythm game, because you'd get these dungeon pieces and you kind of had to memorize like what's the trick about this, because you had to do it quickly enough or else you'd get, well, you'd die. I don't remember what killed you. Some like ghostly hands would pick you up or something. So like this segment, for example, it's got this turret shooting to the right. It's got these flame traps that are here. And this one had a spinning trap. So you had to wait for these bullets to pass and then move. But if you didn't want to collect the coins, you could just go around the fire and avoid it completely. Otherwise, you need to wait for the timing of the fire. And then that's it. That's the end of like this segment is just this little bit right here. And then it puts you in another segment. It's a very fun game. What happened to this company? They still exist? Do they still make games? Founded in 2004. Site URL. They do still exist? Is Redungeon on here? Redungeon out now. What date was this? June 2016. Wow. Yeah, I don't think they did anything with the IP anymore. That's too bad. I think this would do well even on Steam. I'm kind of surprised. Do they have a... They must have a Steam page, right? Nitro. Well, they're still making games. Angel Cats are back. Twin Shot Deluxe is a platform arcade shooter where players defend their homeland using bow and arrows. This looks like Bubble Bobble. Yeah, interesting. This doesn't look like it's up my alley necessarily, although it did very well. It's probably a well-made game. Cool, they're still making stuff. No, I don't want to open a bed and breakfast. No, that'd be nuts for me. All right, let's see what this did. Add a scene-owned falling floor controller to Dungeon Racer. Starts a permanent collapse front moving left to right at 16 pixels per second. Visible floor columns shake, fade, and shrink. Columns already behind the camera disappear without animation or temporary map slices. All right, so add falling floor with a knit, register floor, unregister floor, start, and progression pause APIs. Index each registered tile map layer into X sorted columns and retain its original cell set for death checks. Per physics frame, advance only a column cursor, never rescan the whole map. Start the front at the initial floor's left edge and advance it. If it's entirely left of the camera viewport, erase its source cells directly with no tween, slice, or transient node. Otherwise, move into a temporary tile map layer slice. Tween opacity. It's going to shake the whole column. I don't want to do that, I think. During current prototype staircase. Right, I think that's going to look bad. Or maybe it won't. I don't know. Let's just see what it looks like. Yeah, why not? During current prototype staircase fade, pause collapse progression. Place room 2 immediately to the right in world space. Register, registered, or replace registered floor. Resume. I don't want this stuff. Yeah, I don't want this stuff. It shouldn't have to register a new floor. Yeah. Okay, so registering. Yeah, let me just call out this particular part. Regarding this part, there's no need to handle transitions at all when it comes to the floor falling. Yeah, we don't need to register the new room or unregister the existing one. All right, I want to go take a break pretty soon. I want to see how this thing's going to work. Then when we get to the endless dungeon part, I think we're going to need to keep tacking things onto the existing tile map layer. I wonder if there are going to be any problems with doing that. No, there will be if it's just tile map layers. I guess it needs to be scenes, so it won't be room data. Yeah, this might be a little short-sighted the way I'm doing things. I gotta write this down. When we get to the endless dungeon part, I want there to be a like dungeon or endless room. Dungeon piece maybe. And derived scenes that we can compose as we wish. The scenes could have enemies, traps, etc. They would all have tile maps. So the falling floor needs to consider. Actually, we could just merge the tile maps, right? Could just merge the tile maps. Or we could register the new tile maps with the floor falling instrument. Yeah. All right. How's this looking now? So, new plan. If the original floor leaves the scene tree, make the controller inert. Leave existing staircase transition. Yeah. All right. Sounds good. Let's implement this. I'm going to go take my break because this is working now anyway, and it'll probably take longer than 5 minutes. So, is it jump time? Hello, hello. A little milk. If you want to play, by the way, you got to type join first. And then, yeah, J2, for example, will jump just barely to the right. And like L15 will jump over there. So yeah, feel free to try that out if you want. I'll leave it for another like 10 seconds. I don't know if you do want to join. But if not, then you'll have to wait till the next time, which will probably be in about an hour. All right, well, I waited 10 seconds. All right, close the game. I never wanted to ask me about this. I don't want to allow all edits. Yeah. I specifically, I got to figure this out. Yeah, I just had to figure this out. It says plus disposable Godot temp scratch. It's supposed to have permissions to do this. One or all. Edit every file I have. All right, so should we plan out the dungeons in the meantime? I think that might be nice. Let's trim this down, put this over here. All right, so I want to get just general layout. This thing about the slimes and the torches, we have, what, one of these? Yeah, just a blue one. I don't think it really matters too much. And the slimes are blue. Maybe 4 slimes wouldn't be enough. The idea that I want for this is to teach you basic combat. So, like, you got to kill all the slimes quickly enough. Oh, maybe a spin attack? Maybe that's what we should teach you? This is how some other games do it. Like, there could be a circle of slimes, and you need to position yourself in the middle and spin and kill all of them. I'm not sure. Hey, GLFA. How you doing? Is there something else I like better? Oh, you know what? What if there was like some color-coded thing? We have a couple different slimes. Also, changing the color shouldn't be that hard. Where are the other slimes? So we have red, blue, brown, gold, green. That's like orange, I guess. Pink, white, and they say silver. That looks more like gray to me. Yes, gray. That's what we're saying. All right, anyway, we also have some other torches over here. So I was thinking is, what if we had different slimes? Like we have these 4 colors of slimes. And what if we had different torches and you just had to light certain ones? But how would you know which ones you have to light? Maybe they're on the wall, like there are banners, and you need to match it to the color of the banners. What if that's too hard of a puzzle for people, though? But that's kind of interesting. I sort of like that idea. Do we have a torch without the fire? We must, right? I guess it's easy enough for me to cut it out, even if we don't have one. I don't see one, no. I'm also not totally sure why there are these graphics. Is this so you can combine 2 of them? Did they ever show that in their preview? I only see the single torches. Yeah, I don't know what those are for. Maybe it's... No, it's not that, right? I see you have long sleeves. Is it cold where you are? I just get cold at lunchtime. But it's been pretty pleasant here. There hasn't been a heat wave or anything. Like we went on a walk this morning and it was a little bit chilly. But yeah, I've been doing pretty well. I am enjoying working on Stuck in a Broken Tutorial as a whole, and getting to work on different sub games every once in a while is also pretty neat. All right, so I'm not totally sure what they want you to do with this, but yeah, I think cutting out the fire and just having a torch, I could definitely do myself. So yeah, I don't think that's a problem. And then they have the little light spots, right? Where are those? There should be some circles. I think they're on the tiles themselves. Oh, there's the burning. Yeah, there's a blue one. Something has them. Yeah, there they are. Blue, green, orange. They don't have red. Shouldn't be that hard to add red ourselves, though. Shouldn't be hard to just add the lighting effect like that ourselves. Just a blue circle, right? Yeah. Yeah. So I kind of want to do something like that. I want to have like colored torches and you got to kill the right slimes. Sorry. Pixel art is great. Yeah, I really like this pack. This was also relatively expensive in terms of pixel art. It's possible that's a side angle. I think you're right. I think you were right. I thought you had to combine these, but yeah, this is if it's on the left wall or the right wall, I guess. All right, but still, what do we do in terms of puzzles here? So like we have different slime colors and we have different torch colors. And you need to kill the slimes in order to light up the torches. Whoops. Godot quit. To light up the torches in the same sequence as some colored banners in the room. Yeah, that could be it. That could be how we do this. So there are just torches on the wall and they're not lit at the time. And you see some banners. There's like blue, green, blue, red, red, yellow, or something like that. And there are a bunch of slimes in the room. And as you kill a slime, it lights up the torches and the slimes eventually come back. And this teaches you combat and it teaches you that there's going to be puzzles, but there actually aren't going to be. Delightfully devilish. So now, is there a better incarnation of this? I think that's probably pretty good. I like that idea. Whoops, did I just draw on this? I guess it doesn't really matter. I'm not saving this file. So there are colorful banners in the room. There are colorful slimes in the room. And there are some unlit torches. Killing a slime lights the next torch in the sequence. You have to match the torches to the banner colors. There's a signpost in the room that can give you a hint. And if you light the torches in the wrong order, they'll eventually go out and slimes will eventually respawn. Yeah, and we got to fit all this into what? This tiny little screen over here? I think we could, right? How many? Maybe there are like 4 torches and you just have to light them like blue, red, green, green or something. And you see slimes walking around and they just move in like some line. Maybe there's a lever to reset. Yeah, there could be a lever to reset. That might be better. If you light the torches in the wrong order, you'll have to flip a switch to reset them. Or wait until you lit them all incorrectly. The order is the order of my favorite colors. Can you guess what's in my pocket? I have a riddle for you. It is, how lazy is Bilbo? So I'm still a little torn on how interesting of a puzzle this is. Because there's so little on the screen. Yeah, but I think it's decent. Yeah, it's decent. Now, what is this file called? All tiles v2? Where is it? There. See this. All right, so that's room 1. Teaches you basic combat. Slimes don't really do a whole lot. I guess you need to add in UI at some point. Add in UI. I want the player to have, whoop, Godot quit again. Hooray. I want the player to have a limited amount of life. Maybe 3 hits and you die. All right, how we doing on, whoop, hey, cool. Wow, look at that. That looks terrible. I mean, it's not totally terrible, but I also needed the walls to fade away too, and I never told it to do that. I think this is going to eat up a lot of the quota. Yeah. Hmm. All right, so we're done with that. Okay, room 2, key across the pit. We happy 3 years. Thanks, Crows. Thanks for the resub. How's it going? How's it crowing? So the key across the pit puzzle. I was thinking one way we could do this is put some different switches, and you have to figure out what the switches do. And this would teach you about these zipper tiles that you could get. Yeah. Now, if you die in this room, I think it should just respawn you, right? Ideally, it respawns you in this room. It could reset the room, though. That way you need to plan this out a little bit. But yeah, what I was picturing for this one is we have these switches down here. You would step on just certain switches, and it would do something to the room. And you need to figure out how to get it to get you to the key and then away from the key safely. So the arrows need to face in the correct direction. That just forms a path. It's okay. Yeah, it's okay. Maybe there could be something better there. Another way you could do this is, well, I was going to say you could just put obstacles in here, make a room that's more dangerous than a puzzle. But I think I want it to look like there are going to be a bunch of puzzles in the game. And there actually aren't. Yeah, nothing else. Nothing else inspires puzzles like this does. Yeah, I think that's what we do then. All right, well, I still need to answer the rest of the questions here. How does this work? You do something to spawn this. It could be that there's a switch for rotating. I guess having to step on it and then step off of it, though, doesn't make a lot of sense. Maybe there are just those toggle levers. I don't want to use that for everything, though. Yeah. Hang on one sec. What is this thing? Auto review replaces manual approval at the sandbox boundary with a separate reviewer agent. Use across the sandbox boundary request approval. Codex routes that approval request a separate reviewer agent instead of stopping for a person. Decides whether it should run and returns a rationale. No, I don't care about this. Manual approval is fine. Okay, so it ran and it took a bunch of quota. And let's try running this ourselves now and just see what happened here. So the floor should start falling away. Yeah, this is not how I envisioned this. But actually, it doesn't look too bad. But the wall needs to fall away too. Hmm. You can't make it happen over here. Yeah. Hmm. Well, let's put some things on the floor and see what it looks like. Room 1. Floor. I guess I want it to be all tile map layers because we don't really have anything else to put on the floor here, do we? Like I could put in some of these tiles every once in a while. But yeah, this is just for flavor, not for any structural thing. I guess we could put some of these in too. This is just to see what it looks like. If it looks even dumber or what. All right, let's try that. I mean, the z-index thing is a problem, but otherwise it's not bad. I I think when it's shaking, it probably shouldn't make the player die. I think it's only once it falls, because it does look weird that it's just game over as soon as it starts shaking. All right, well, let's take a look at some of the code. Falling floor. I want to see how this works. Cell left X coordinates. Oh, this will only allow for one at a time. I don't like this. Yeah, I don't like this. Then we make a new tile map layer. We then add in all the cells. So we need to do this for each tile map layer that we have. Yeah. So changes to the existing behavior. We don't want the new layer to appear above the existing one. We want the player to die only when the tiles have disappeared, not when they're shaking. It's starting to fade away. And what else? We want this to work on every tile map layer. Yeah, walls, floor, whatever else we might have. And we can't compose them all into a single node, can we? I don't think so. I still think ideally it would probably operate on individual tiles. It does look a little bit weird to see the whole thing fall over, although the wall is not included in that. And if we did have individual tiles, we could have them fall with like somewhat random offsets too. Honestly, this isn't bad. I should just keep it how it is. Yeah. Let's just have it make those changes that I wanted. make these changes. The new tile map layers that get created shouldn't show above the existing layers. You may need to add them higher up in the scene tree, which would be better than changing their Z indices or Z indexes. Make the player die only when the tiles have fully disappeared. And make this work on every tile map layer in the scene, not just the floor. Okay. Yeah, Lagwin. Your small millisecond offset IMO is the way to go. Between tiles, you mean? Because that would involve us applying, yeah, that would involve us applying a totally different way of doing this. So instead of slicing into one tile map layer for the whole column, we'd need to make a tile map layer for each individual tile. I don't think this looks bad. Yeah. Hey, Ramy. Ramy and a half. Yeah, it's not bad. Because it does kind of have the right depth effect, at least from what I'm picturing. It's Ramy in 2/3. All right, hey, Ramy in 2/3. Oh, right, this is a fake staircase. I was like, why can't we access it? I probably should have had it plan this. Oh, well. All right, so I have not still figured out how this room is going to work. I talked about switches and plates that you could step on. Maybe... I mean, I guess I like the idea of switches. What if it picked a different center point and then it could crumble out to the edges based on a different center? You're saying instead of falling column, 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 that it picks an epicenter and sort of radiates outward? Because that could happen, but you're going to eventually need to move from the right side of the, from the left side of the screen. So like something's got to get you to go in a direction we expect you to go in. If we just picked like this as the crumble point and then it started going outward from there, then you could go in any direction. And having you go in any direction would mean we need to it'd just be a harder game to make, that's all. Because now we need to plan our rooms from entering from like the top, for example. We need to connect them differently. It would radius just in the line. Oh, I see what you're saying. But I think if it picks different center points for that column, it would look a little weird. Like I said, I'm not upset with how it looks right now. I think it's fine. Plus, the other thing too is all we really need to do is give the player the indication that like you need to move. And if you don't, and you just like walk over to here, yeah, you'll lose. And you'll be like, oh, I shouldn't do that. But yeah, maybe we try individual tiles. I think there would be a performance hit because we'd be creating like 40 different tile map layers and adding them to the scene. And I think that would be a problem. Although we could try to do it in a better way. Yeah. All right, so we got to get back to puzzle planning here. The puzzle planning committee. Yeah, I think we come up with those, either those levers or these plates. The other thing we could do, make a Sokoban style puzzle. I don't think we need to do that. Problem is with levers and plates, what are you configuring here exactly? Like having tiles just appear seems strange. I need to think about this. And these little zipper tile things that we have, we got to think of how that's going to work too. How we need to make sure if we add boost pads that they fall correctly with the rest of the floor. Yeah, I like the coin idea too. I still haven't come up with what this should be though. Allow it to edit the following files. Sure. I mean, out of curiosity, is it like good enough right now? Because it's probably going to try verifying this. Yeah, now the wall falls away. That's nice. I like that. And now when it starts shaking, you can still leave it. But yeah, if you fall off the edge, then you're dead. What was the other thing I told it to do? Oh yeah, the Z index thing. I didn't pay attention to that. That might have been working too. I just didn't happen to notice. We'll just speed this up a little bit. So when it gets to the stairs, it should show up below the stairs now. Yeah. Easy. Easy. The stairs wouldn't be in this scene. All right, did a pretty good job. Now I just need to figure out this puzzle. Oh, man. We just need some, like, decent enough puzzle. Oh, you know what we could do? Maybe? We could have a line of spikes that when you step on it, or we could do the classic, like, you step on this thing and then spikes appear after half a second. And if you can't move fast enough through it, then you'll get hit by the spikes and you'll die. So we teach you to use those little zipper pad things. And there's some way for you to set that up. The thing is, you don't die in one hit unless spikes are an insta-kill. Maybe everything's an insta-kill. Maybe you don't have, like, shields or life. You just die when something hits you. Part of me is wondering what happens if people can't make it through even the slime room. Like, I'm trying to make this game pretty accessible. Oh, also, I didn't even think of colors. I'm going to have a problem with that, won't I? Drat. I did not think of that. Drat. Yeah. Oh, man. I wanted to have different slimes light up different colored torches. But yeah, I gotta make sure it works with color blindness. We can probably pick like 3 or 4 of these colors that don't have any issue, right? Is there a way to like online color blindness tool, image testing tool? Yeah, here we go. Can you add your own image? Drag and drop or paste your file. Oh, perfect. Okay, so I want just the banners. Do we have just the banners? There. So set 3.2. Drag this here. In the paste area below. Where's the paste area? What? Where am I supposed to put this? Oh, there we go. Okay, so here is our image. What does it look like? Oh, you can still tell them apart. Yeah, I can still tell them apart. Now, these are pretty close. All right, now these three are pretty close. Yeah, these two are pretty close. So this one's problematic. Second one at the bottom there. Hmm. Normal lens. Oh, interesting. Yeah. So I think we can still pick three of these colors and you'd be able to tell them apart. Some games do a colorblind mode. This is possibly the only part of the game that's going to require color. So I don't think we need a mode just for that. I think we just pick some of these. It'll always look different. All right, so which colors does this work out to be? Because like I said, that bottom right one is potentially a problem. It's brown. But I think just red, blue, and green never have an issue, right? Yep, I can tell them apart. I can tell them apart. Tell them apart. It's a little bit harder, but they're still different enough where I think it's fine. I guess we need to do the same thing with the slimes, though. Yep, this is fine. And this is fine, yeah. Okay. So red, blue, and green. We'll just use 3 slime colors. Just use red, blue, and green since those work with color blindness. Tool. Mr. Who Cares? Happy 20 months. My goodness. I can't believe it's been 20 months. I remember when you were watching mostly through YouTube. And it doesn't feel like 20 months ago. Yeah, I guess it was. Render a capture, sure. Wow, seriously? I think we can just say that this is done. It's probably just using quota for no reason at this point. Not that I have too much of a problem with this. Oh, I see. Yeah, I am kind of ready to cancel this. Because I think it's done. All right, have I made any progress on this thing? I don't think I have. I talked about tiles and whatever else. I don't want to do a timing based thing. First one's already kind of a timing based thing. I guess this should be more cryptic. I'm actually kind of thinking of the game Myst and how you'd, toggle a lever in one part of the world and it would do something in another part of the world. Like, what if we just had 4 levers and you just had to figure out, what if there's no puzzle even? We just have some binary guesser. There's just 4 levers and it's like, guess the configuration. And yeah, you have 2 to the 4th number of combinations you can apply. You just count your way up and you figure it out. I don't like that. It's not really a puzzle. It'd be if we just said like, hey, guess a number from 1 to 10. So I think there needs to be some indication of what the levers are doing. And yeah, I don't have a great idea for this. Maybe we do make it more like you're zipping through the spikes. I mean, there's got to be some way for you to get the key. Maybe we don't have a jump animation, do we? No. What's the difference between this and preview 3? Oh, I see. Yeah, there's no jump animation. Hey, Jace. Is the art a paid asset? Yeah, yeah, yeah. And hey, Rick, did these get generated? So I just bought an asset pack. The person probably just turned all these into a GIF just to show what's what. But yeah, all of this is from itch/snow, or wait, what is it? Snowhex.itch, this thing. That's not going to load now, is it? All right, well, anyway, I'll paste it in the chat. I think this is the link. Oh, that's weird. Yeah, I really like these assets. I bought a why is this not loading? There we go. Yeah, I bought a bunch of these. They have, actually, I bought all 5 of these, but I spent, I think, like $24. They were on sale. And this bundle was priced such that it's cheaper to buy them individually than to buy them together. I don't know if that's still the case. And nothing's loading, so I don't care. Hey, Snow Goose. Yeah, I purchased it for $5. So now I'm guessing it's $6. Yeah, $6. Yeah, I got these assets. The ones I really like that I don't actually have a game idea for yet is, where is this? Monetary cost. Here we go. This one. I really, really like. Okay, never mind. Nothing's going to load. I can't show this. Here's a top free itch asset. Yeah, yeah. I think using asset packs is generally pretty tough sometimes because your game, you can't make a game using just the asset packs. But in my case, I think it's working pretty well. Hey, dang good games. How's it going? Thanks for the raid. Also, Jace, do try to be mindful. There's one unusual rule in chat, and it is no segmenting. Yeah, how'd the stream go? Welcome in, everyone. Thank you very much for the support. Stream's going well. Yeah, this is what I was going to show off here. This asset pack over here, which maybe this works, maybe this doesn't, but you can kind of see it here in this preview. This looks pretty cool. I like this. And I want to find some way to use this. And I don't think it'll be too hard. It's like a fully set up platformer pack. But yeah, we got to do something there. All right, so let's go back to this for a second, see how this is looking. Stream was great. Getting some metagame built out. Better UI and whatnot. Nice. Do you have any screenshots or anything you want to share? We are working on a new game called Dungeon Racer within Stuck in a Broken Tutorial. And we're just getting this, what you see here on screen, working, which is like you can navigate between these rooms and the tiles can fall. And that's it. I mean, this is not much. But yeah, if you were to be on this as it falls, you just die. Yeah, let me see what that game is. Taskbar Hero, Steam. And yeah, thank you, by the way. Oh, interesting. Yeah. Yeah, so that is the main way that we're getting art for this. But then Quickie Joe is working on the art as well. So if I go to start game, this character was made by Mara Kintsugi on itch. Yeah, this isn't loading anymore. Okay, so fine. Anyway, I can't show the URLs online, but this character was made by them. And then Quickie Joe has been working on the color mask. So if we want to change the color of the hair, for example, like there was a special mask made for this. And then this same character and all the other styles that we have art for. So she has blue hair in this game. If we go into the farming game, she still has the same appearance and clothing and hair color now. So like Quickie Joe has turned the asset packs we're getting into something that makes it look like the same character throughout. And that's a lot of work. So in the next game that we have, like, yeah, we haven't finished colorizing this and we haven't even finished the sprites. So you can only see her hair color there, but it's the default one. Yeah, there's a lot to be done for this. Yeah, sure. Share the Steam page. Yeah. Got to be a falling animation of the player shrinking. There's a falling animation built in for the sprites. If I find it, yeah, here, this one. So this is already a sprite-based animation, and I think it looks really good. So we're going to probably use that. Keyboard means professional geek. Yep. Did I read this? I don't remember if I've seen this. Drones is a run-based auto battler deck builder. Choose the enemies you want to engage. Discards the ones you don't. You got a couple of typos in here, by the way. Unlock and discover and guide autonomous drones. Acquire items like components, munitions, hacks, and modulators to stop planetary invasions and endlessly replayable seeded runs. Yeah, cool. So wait, you said you're getting some metagame built out, better UI and whatnot. I see. Yeah. But looks neat. How you feeling about it? You estimate how long it would take to do a new Candy Crush game? I'm not sure. I think Candy Crush, the core mechanics are actually really, really simple. I think where Candy Crush succeeded is that they just like completely covered the game in polish. Every single thing you do, every like the way everything moves, how everything feels, it is like meant to trigger every positive part of your brain. And that takes a long time. So to just like remake the matching mechanics of Candy Crush is, yeah, pretty simple, I think. But to make it look like Candy Crush, to feel like Candy Crush, I think that's difficult. And that's why they made such a crazy amount of money. Yeah, awesome day, good games. Yeah, cool. All right, I feel my momentum has dropped a bit, and I think let's get back to code review for a little bit here. I think this is what happens with these new games. Like you start working on it, it doesn't feel like a game yet. There's a lot of work to do. There's a lot of like boilerplate stuff. Figure out what parts of the human mind it triggers. Maybe it's easier to build those Candy Crush like games. Oh yeah, I heard about that. It rubbed me the wrong way as soon as I heard about it too. I'm like, this is probably not a good thing. All right, so how complex did this get? I mean, individual functions aren't looking too bad. I'm guessing that we now go over, yeah, tile columns. And a tile column is based out of tile layers, which has a tile map layer. Layer order, why is this here? Oh, because we need to keep track of that too, right? And there's some sorting that's done here, yeah. Interesting. Interesting, not sure how I feel about it yet. Yeah. Yeah. Kind of crazy. Long time, gonna be 2 years or 2 months. Oh, I don't know how long it would take exactly because I only played Candy Crush to like help out another streamer. If you downloaded it and played it for like 5 levels, and you'd give that streamer like a couple bucks or something. So I don't. My understanding of Candy Crush is it's either infinite or nearly infinite. So like making all the levels would take probably months. Like I don't know how many gimmicks they have. I don't know how in depth it goes. But yeah, like core gameplay would probably take like 3 days or something. And then that amount of polish on top of just that core gameplay would probably take like 2-3 months, I think. And this is assuming you already had all the assets and sounds and music. Yeah. Yeah, SPX. Yeah, sorry, the today command needs to be at the beginning of the message for that. Oh yeah, you got it. Yeah. All right, so let's keep looking through this. And again, this is my estimation. I think typically people underestimate how much is involved. Again, I don't even really know how big Candy Crush is. If you ask me how long does it take to make like Zelda 1, for example, Zelda 1, I know pretty much all the mechanics in there, all the levels. The other thing to consider is that any game has some amount of time coming from the game design. So if you are remaking a game, that time goes down to 0. Like if you're making Tetris from scratch, that requires inspiration, right? Like that's a tough idea to come up with and to like figure out, okay, does this work? Like, is it fun? But remaking Tetris, dead simple. And that's kind of how I felt. The last game I made is Skeleseller. The game design, just to get to the point where we had all the game ideas figured out, that was probably like, let's say like a month and a half or 2 months of the overall time that we spent of just like solid work, I'd say, not even just calendar time. But if you were to remake Skeleseller, it wouldn't take that long because you wouldn't need to make all the mistakes I made. You'd just make all the correct decisions that I made. So yeah, I think that's where it's like Candy Crush probably wasn't the simplest thing to come up with either and figure out like, okay, what makes this different from the other games? Hey, bot. How often do you audit or refactor? Like have a review entire scripts or features and recommend changes? Not too often. Excuse me. I think oh, um you always need to consider what your goals are for something. And for me, it's make a game, like have fun doing it, have people enjoy it, and eventually make money from the game. So what I've learned is the more you target things toward business and product and focus on that, the more you let other things slide because they're just not important enough. So for example, let's say you have a really ugly class of, I don't know, 10,000 lines of code, and it could be refactored in a million different ways, but it's working and it's performant. You're not going to probably add an extra month to your timeline just to make this a less ugly class. It's just not that important. But if you're making, let's say, a tutorial on how to do something, and you end up producing ugly code, like that is going to decrease the quality of your tutorial because other people are going to be like, wow, this person doesn't know what they're talking about. So like you probably would clean it up because your goals would be different. So I think about that a lot. And even with AI making refactors easier, it's like you're still taking time reviewing things. You're potentially introducing bugs or flaws. And who are you refactoring it for? Is it for the AI? Are you frequently modifying the code for it? So those are things that I think come into play for whether you should do that. Figure out the fun loop of the game working. Yeah, it's not easy. It really isn't. How long did it take to make Skeleseller when you came up with the idea? So Skeleseller from start to finish was about 2 years of full-time work. And when I say about 2 years, I mean almost exactly 2 years. I've got my journal that I keep publicly here, and you can go back and look at exactly when I started it. I think it was in April of 2024. Yeah, here it is. Design the rest of Skeleseller, mocked up UI, started the GitHub repo. So coding started on April 17th. And I think the design started in March somewhere. And I launched on, I think, March 26th of 2026, I believe. So it was like, yeah, almost exactly 2 years. And people look at it and they're like, oh, this didn't take very long to make, right? It's like, no, games take a long time to make. And truly, so much of it not only comes from game design, but also from the launching part of it. Just taking a game from, yeah, this is playable and it's fun, to this looks really good. There's a lot that goes into that. Did you make enough from it? Yeah. It my like base level of success was, did it make at least what minimum wage would have been for that time? And it did. So yeah, it was 2 years of work. And that was the base level of success. It's a little higher than that. It's not like, you know, a huge multiplier higher than that, but like, yeah, it did well. Instantly started making a new game. Was it right around then? Because it was right in the journal, right? That I entered the partner program. All right, let's take a look at this. Is game over? I actually already don't like that this is becoming as large as it is. The 100 line. Falling floor, game over screen. Init, player caught. Finished. All right, all that's fine. This is fine. Yeah, this all looks pretty good, actually. Good job, AI. Now, what do we have here? Dungeon Racer, falling floor. This is only in room 1. No, it's only in Dungeon Racer. And what do we feed it? The thing that we want? Dungeon Racer. Falling floor. We do not tell it anything. And then what else changed here? The script and the game over screen. And the game over screen is hidden by default. It is not. Is its modulation? It is not. What is this? Oh, these things are turned off? Okay, I don't know about that. Might as well just hide the visibility of the game over screen, right? I guess it can show multiple times. Doesn't really matter. Yeah, thanks, Zero Repent. Yeah. If you think about it, you know, one of the things I was talking about with a friend of mine, I was like, okay, I just got the first like check for Skeleseller, and it seems like a lot of money. And then you think like, okay, well, wait, this was 2 years of work. There might not be another check after this. And even if Skeleseller continues to have them, it's like, well, this new game, I'm planning on taking what, 2 years making it. So it's like over the course of if you do one game every 2 years, you like launch one game every 2 years, then that means that at the 3.999 year mark, you have launched one game. So like, yeah, for those 1.999 years or whatever, you are working on the revenue of the first game. And then, yeah, you launch a game and hopefully you recoup some of it, but it's not guaranteed to be a success, right? Like this game I'm working on now, maybe I produce it and I think it's going to do well and it sells like $2,000 worth. It's like, okay, well, that definitely wasn't worth it from a monetary perspective. Foot collision. Floor contact position. We don't have to do things this way. Yeah, we don't have to do things this way. So this is used to make sure his player on disappeared tile. Yeah, they're too local. We could just check the player's position or just add a number or something. Yeah, I want to take a look at this because I'm not certain I like that. The rest of this was fine though. Yeah. Working on this majorly by myself. So sort of. Here's what I'd say. Like art is always 0% me. Quickie Joe is doing the like recoloring for now and the reworking of asset packs. Kevin has been doing some like kind of minor bug fixes, I'd say, for now. And Dark has been doing the world creation. But yeah, the bulk of like moving the game forward is yeah, mostly me. And this is something like in Skeleseller, it felt a little bit more collaborative just because of how people were free at the time or had more time or we had different needs from the game. And I do miss that a little bit more. Yeah, unfortunately, it's like the amount of custom art we're going to need for this game is different. I almost feel bad for Quickie Joe for the work he has to do for this game. I wouldn't even say solo dev plus plus. It is a team. I don't want to diminish the impact and effort of the team. Yeah. All right, so this is good. So tile map data inside room 1. We don't actually need to change any of this. I just did this to see what the room would look like if it looked a little bit different, but let's cut that out. So game over screen. This is in the top-down shooter. We now use this here instead of what we had before. And it got moved up. That's fine. And then all the game over stuff is now consolidated there. That looks a lot nicer. Nice. Okay. So far, I'd say this is pretty reasonable. This we have to review pretty closely. Dungeon Racer Falling Floor. And the game over screen is presumably just copy-pasted. Yeah. So I think that's pretty much it. All right, so let's just review the one thing we said we had to review. I remember playing Game Dev Studio a long time ago, making profitable, enjoyable games. It's hard even in that game. Hard for different reasons. I asked how many operators are there and can I name them in an interview? In a particular programming language? Because to me, that doesn't seem like a very valuable question to ask somebody. Yeah. I wonder what their intent was. Maybe like here's where I could see every question has an intent behind it, right? So if you ask like what are the operators in C++ or something like that, like what I could see the intent being is figure out if someone even knows how to code, which you can do in a different way, but otherwise it doesn't tell you very much. Or oh, how many? Yeah, well, either way, yeah, how many or what are they? Hey, Doc Walk. Universe is binary. But then wouldn't you ask them like, hey, what's the difference? Like what's happening in here? Or like what would the abstract syntax tree be if I said like this 1 plus minus 5 or something, and like yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's super valuable. All right, so disappeared cells by layer. What are we doing here? We clear this each time. So we can't have multiple tiles falling at a time. I couldn't answer it. I was so shocked by the question. Well, okay, maybe that's the intent is for you to figure out like, well, how do I even go about answering this? Yeah. Hey, Gilgamesh. Make a steady income and I'm living comfortably while working on my skills to grow more. But seeing all these people working on their own projects and making tons of money and sharing it on social media just frustrates me a lot. And I feel I'm so behind. Have you suffered from that? Okay, so I mean, I think this is the negative impact of social media more than anything else. And honestly, my advice, without if I were just being very succinct, is like get off of social media. But people are encouraged to share their successes on social media, right? And that doesn't represent all of their lives. And even if you looked at, if you were just looking at me, it's like, okay, I launched Skeleteller back in March. You might be like, wow, that guy's a successful game dev or whatever. You need to compare how long did I spend? What are the difficulties? What did I give up in doing that? Like, how did I feel on every other day, not just launch day? So I think a couple things. One, slow and steady wins the race. And two, comparison is the thief of joy. Like, you should have your own metrics to yourself of are you hitting some goal that you have? Is it to make money? If it is, are you making money the way you want to be making money? Is it for enjoyment? Are you actually enjoying what you're doing? Is it to do something quickly? Okay, could you be faster at something? Maybe it's a little of all of those categories. And yeah, those are things you can think about. Like, how do I make more money can be a question people can ask. It's not necessarily a bad thing. And sometimes it's save money, sometimes it's get a different job, sometimes it's get another job, as in work two jobs at once. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, if that's your goal, then you'd analyze that part of it and not just, hey, other people are doing stuff. How do I do what they're doing? It's more like, well, what do you want and what's important to you? And I think there is societal pressure to do things that society values. I think a lot of people who retire feel like, oh, my value just went away. But that's a different problem than what I think you're experiencing right now. But yeah, I think the more you can minimize that sort of thing, it's like on Twitch, this is what I see right now. I don't have my view count active. Like, this is literally the UI I see. You can see the exact same one if you went to this URL. Like, I don't think the view count helps me to see that. I'm not trying to optimize for viewers. And by knowing, oh, at any given time, like, oh, it's 60 or it's 90 or something, it's like, is that good for my mentality? All right, so we have the camera here for what reason? To know if something's off screen. And to tell if a tile column is here. Where is the tile column? Global bounds. All right, there's a lot that's done a little bit strangely. The whole tile column has the same position, so we don't really need to know global bounds exactly. Yeah. I guess we do this for the sake of detecting if the player fell off. Yeah, Gilgamesh, the other thing too that I think is difficult is like the success stories you hear are people who succeeded. So there's a certain survivorship bias there of you're only seeing the success stories. For every one success story you see, there's probably like 100 failures from that same person in different ways and 1,000 failures from other people. And maybe not. I mean, some people are lucky or skilled or whatever, talented. All right. So yeah, there's some weird stuff happening here. At least weird in my opinion. Falling before X. Yeah, I think I want to have it add comments here. And also, what is active for? I see. Start column falling. Oh, this I don't want. Just new node 2D. Yeah, we don't need to set names here. Hey, Alakazam. Do you have any advice for finding playtesters? I completed a game jam a couple months ago, and the feedback I got was really insightful and helped me set a direction. I've been working on the game in my free time. I think I'm at a point where I need more feedback and playtesters. Probably post on Reddit or some Discords. I guess I'm a little skeptical on the level of participation compared to the game jam. Yeah, so I think you have two routes here. There's the free route and the paid route. And in the free route, I think looking near a field is pretty decent. Friends and family. I mean, you ask a friend to play, you have them over to your place, you go over to their place, you watch over a Discord call, something like that. I think that's really helpful. The other thing you could do, like you said, Reddits and Discords and whatever else. Small streamers are another potentially good way of finding playtesters. I think it's a little bit harder to like, it's a skill you need to learn. You need to reach out to them and everything. But in the like 1 to 10 viewer range, I think you can find people who will be on board with it. And you can even say like, hey, I'm a developer. You know, I really liked your stream. You'd really help me out if you were to do this. You know, I'll whatever, talk you over in my own Discord, something like that. And then paid, there are services that offer exactly what you're looking for. You can get play testers and just pay them a fee per hour usually, or per game test. I don't know of any of these services off the top of my head, but I've definitely seen them being advertised. But yeah, those are the big ways of going about it, I'd say. I think the most valuable playtests are ones where you have a video recording of them. You can always look back at it. You can, if some bug happened, you can go frame by frame and see like, how did the bug happen? It's all rainbows and sunshine. Yeah. Yeah, and Skeletron had a lot of really tough moments in it too. All right, what is merge bounds used for? Add layer column. I mean, I guess I want to consider the layer, like we don't need to do this. We could just consider the layer to be the entirety, like an infinitely tall slice of the world that knows what the new position should be. This isn't necessarily bad. It's just, yeah, I don't think this is bad. I think I'm just going to tell it to add some comments here. Comments to, what is this? Dungeon Racer falling floor? Dungeon Racer falling floor. For anything that looks particularly cryptic or tricky, do not go overboard with the quantity of comments. In particular, what I'm thinking about here is this like falling before X. Not super descriptive. Yeah. And let's just set this to, well, I don't know, set it to extra high, whatever. Quota wise, I think this feels like I'm using about the same amount of quota even on the new model. So that feels good. Yeah, and the paid services may not be like great bang for buck. You might want to have like 80% free people and pay 1 or 2 people. I've also heard bad things from some of those services. Like, oh, hey, the playtester played my game, but it's clear they didn't really play my game. And the final thing, and this is where it's like, I don't know if Fiverr has 1 R or 2 R's in it, but anyway, that service Fiverr, I've heard of people getting playtesters through there. Like, oh, hey, I'll pay $10 and you just have to play my game and record it. And yeah, that's where I've heard more questionable things. So, yeah, it's got 2. Okay, yeah. Get rich quick schemes on e-commerce or make content with AI and you just feel behind, start questioning if what you're doing is worth the effort. Yeah, I think it's tough. This is one of the things I was talking about with AI in particular. I think it's sped up my development. I mean, by the way, then you run into scenarios like this where I feel like I'm done for the day almost. I probably should just stop the stream half an hour ago. But anyway, I feel like it's sped up my development. So now going to use not using AI feels like, all right, that's a step in the wrong direction. I did enjoy coding, but I also enjoy doing things optimally. And if I feel like this has sped up my development, then this becomes the optimal way. And now I feel like, well, now coding doesn't have the same enjoyment for me because it's not just the coding. It was also knowing that there was some greater purpose for this. I don't feel like that's there anymore. Hey, Kizu. Every day is 3 working days. Well, it does feel like every day kind of became like 20 to 50% better. All right, I'll review this after my break. It's added some comments. I'll see if anything in particular here is still unclear. Then I think we'll check it in and we'll do some other like minimal work, maybe some easier stuff. Is it jump time? Does the computer not think it is? Is it jump time? Hello again. Close the game. Okay. So this added some comments. Let's see. Source cells are erased when their animation starts. So we keep separate records of where tiles originally existed and which of those cells have finished disappearing and are now lethal. Why do we need to do even that though? For the collision, maybe? Might be. Oh, let's try this. With an actual user, yeah. Yeah, I'm really glad you're liking that internship. Wait, this doesn't even work. You can just walk outside of the bounds as soon as it disappears. And it doesn't even know that you've done that. Okay, there's a lot that's very silly about this. Yeah. Collision is not respected during that time. Yeah. So why is this actually needed here? Check to see if it contains the player cell. Contains player cell layer local limit. This is very, very silly. Yeah, this is very silly. I don't like this. I think this is a bad way of coding this. Yeah, I think this is dumb. So rework the floor falling. We're tracking a bunch of stuff for no reason. Like, is player undisappeared tile shouldn't exist. It should just be a check of your x coordinate. So then this entire data structure would stop existing, right? Because that's all we use that for. Mark column disappeared. Yeah, this is dumb. And original cells by layer. What is this for? Same thing. Yeah, so these data structures just don't need to exist in that case. Yeah, I can't be wrong. It must be me. I am the one who is wrong. And then there was something else I didn't like. Oh, yeah, that the collision is just gone. I mean, that would be a reason for keeping this around. Alternatively, we need the same tile shapes as well. We keep the source there, but hide it. I'm not sure if you can do that, but you probably can. It's like the collision on the falling column no longer exists when it starts falling. You can walk through the wall on the left side as soon as it starts falling. Have people giving you a hard time for using AI? I know that on Steam, if you mention AI, some people react negatively. Yeah, and for Skeleseller, they definitely did when the game launched. And I like hardly used AI in my opinion. I used it for auto completing code. And one art asset used it, and that was it. And people were still like super up in arms about it. And then on the stream now, every once in a while, someone comes in and makes like an AI comment and then pretty much immediately leaves. It even happened once today. So, like, I don't know how this game's going to be received, but this is how I want to make the game. So I'm going to just keep doing it. And it's still going to be a ton of work. And this is, yeah, anyway, it's still going to be a ton of work. The leading edge of the collapse in global pixels, column to its left should begin shaking. All right, so I probably will check this in and then have it make changes so I don't lose everything. And what else do we have here? Merge columns from different layers when they occupy the same global X so they animate together. The layer order is retained inside this. Yeah. What was this about? Oh man, really? I don't like the idea of checking this. should be cached. We can just check if something was disposed. I think it's a case of not understanding it. I don't think it's entirely the case of not understanding it. A friend of mine said we're in a culture war right now, and I agree with that. I think like some people just their opinion is AI bad. And there's no nuance to it or anything. It's just, oh, AI was used on this thing. I don't like that. Here are some reasons why I don't like it. And there are potentially some reasons. I could understand the resourcing issues and the people losing jobs issue. And one of the things I think about is like, okay, I'm only using AI for code, and I'm the one who was coding all this anyway. So there's probably an argument to be made like, well, if the code is overwhelming, you might have hired somebody else. But yeah, I'm basically doing my job with it. And from the resource perspective, it's like local models are getting better and better. You can run them on your own computer. I mean, if you're okay with someone running anything on their computer, wouldn't you be okay with them running AI on their computer as well? I find it hard to gauge how many gamers actually care. And like, is it a vocal minority? Yeah, it's hard to tell. I don't know. I go into certain subreddits sometimes and I see a lot of anti-AI sentiment. Like every once in a while I'll browse like game dev, or I don't know if it's itch or itch.io, but like the itch subreddit. And yeah, I'll see random things on YouTube where someone used AI to make something, and the people who are against it are very vocal about being against it. Remember, every game technically uses AI to a certain extent. I mean, there's the old definition of AI, which was just like a computer doing something, right? So you'd be playing Bomberman and you'd be like, oh, the AI just defeated me. Like, yeah, it's artificial intelligence, but just definitely not the same way it is now. There's AI game dev Reddit says the opposite. Vibe code all the way, no nuance. Yeah. If I like the game and dev used AI to make it, I don't care. I'm having fun anyway. Yeah, I think it can sometimes be an indicator of cut corners. It's like when you would see machine translations for products and you'd be like, well, if they didn't take the time to get an English translator, like what else might be wrong about this product? So yeah, I could see that sort of thing, but I don't think you'd be so vocally against it in that case. You'd probably play the game and see. Gotta tell everyone about it, yeah. Again, so skip all temporary tile map and tween allocation. Preserve source order transform. Yeah, this is okay. It's just not great. Yeah, I want to change a lot of this. All right, so add the falling floor of the... Yeah, add the falling floor. You have to press, I think, Y to activate this. I'll say or X because it depends on the controller. It's not perfect. The collision disappears on the falling layers and the code isn't the greatest. Hey, Godik. Yeah. Yeah, and that's where I want to understand more about this. Like, I had someone get mad at me in the Steam reviews about the price of the game dropping. Like, if we go over to... Where is this? Recent... Here, this person. Okay, so I cannot read their messages myself. I do not speak Chinese, but they said some very insulting things. I don't know what this exactly translates to, but anyone who bought this at launch is a total moron. It launched at 42, their currency, dropped to 33, and I paid 37. Yeah. Anyway, bad developer, drop it, don't support this dev, right? And like, I want to understand, and I never really got an answer to this, but if they're okay with sales, why are they not okay with this? And I know that this person is not representative of every person out there, but it's kind of the same with AI. It's like, I'd like to know someone who's against Skeleseller because of AI, like, why are they against it? I got some negative reviews saying that, oh, it uses AI and yeah, it's slop and whatever else. And it's like, the quality of the game is not bad. I get people might dislike Skeleseller for the length or for the price or for whatever else, but like, it's not a buggy game. the bugs that people encountered were due to graphics driver issues that like I cannot easily work around. Nvidia very likely has some implementation flaw, or Godot is using it weirdly, but it's like I have another renderer that you can use in that case, and then that's it. Those bugs are just fixed. So yeah, I'd love to hear more from an individual who feels strongly about this. Hey Torque, thanks for the raid. Welcome in, everyone. Let me give you a whoop. Apparently you can't just type /shout. Oh my god, it's so hard to fix a broken shout out command. There. We did it. Yay. How is the stream? Such a weird take to be against the price dropping. I mean, I can sort of get it. It's just it's Steam in particular. Like, what Steam game exists that hasn't gone on sale and has been out for longer than like 6 months? Like, it's just a thing you do. If a game is on Steam, you will run a sale for it. So it's like if you pay $10 and then the game goes on sale for $8, are you like, I want my money back? I hate this. So now if you pay $10 and the person changes the price permanently to $8, like, why are you mad about that? And that's what I don't totally understand. I wanted to get some opinions of people who actually were mad about this. It's not different from a sale in my mind. It's like, yeah, you got in early. You were happy with the equation back then. Then the price dropped a little bit. And now you're not happy with it. WGPU programming? I don't know what that is. Cross-platform safe, pure Rust graphics API. Oh, cool. Learn shaders and stuff. Congrats on the game release. Thanks. I'm not totally sure about the time got a night snack. Are you saying it's time to get one? Because if so, I hope you enjoy, and thank you for the raid. The game is to try to get the game at the cheapest price. I think that'd be fun to do. AI negative reviews can be so damaging for indie devs. Well, any negative review when you don't have a lot, I think, can be really damaging. Because like if an indie game drops to mixed or to negative, and it's not for reasons that are on the game's merits itself, then people are probably going to be less likely to try the game and leave positive reviews about the game's merits. When you had space left over and had a pretty huge discount, a lot of people see 1 to 2K difference and freak out. Yeah. I can understand if it's thousands of dollars. Like you buy a car and then it drops by $5,000 or something, and it's like, well, that's too bad. But yeah, we're talking about like going from $8 to $6 or something. There was someone in Brazil who said in their local currency it was more extreme, but even in their local currency, I can't imagine it was like the equivalent of going from 1,000 to 500. It's just not that much money, and it, yeah. Yeah, Moreau, yeah. People, yeah, people still just got mad. Anyway, we checked this in. I have not been doing anything. I'm gonna probably get going pretty soon. Let's fill out the journal. So I gotta say, after 1 day of using Codex without a 5-hour limit, awesome change. I hope everyone eventually does this. Having a 5-hour limit just does all these weird little like mental games that I don't want to have to deal with. Started working, or like, yeah, wrapped up a couple of things, outstanding commit, merging troubles, and then started on the Dungeon Racer subgame. Didn't get very far with it. Yeah, we have a lot of work left to do. I suggest the cron job right before you start. Wait, but now I don't have to do it because there's no 5-hour limit anymore. Are you saying for the weekly thing? Well, I don't think the 5-hour limit was just gamification. I think that's probably a nice side effect for them, but I think it was because they don't want you bursting through your entire week's worth of usage in like 2 hours and using all their resources. Oh, if they bring it back. Yeah, I see. Anyway, this is all we got done. We have a little dungeon and a character that doesn't have an animation yet. You can move between floors. And on the first floor, if you press a button, you can make the floor fall. So we're getting toward the like endless dungeon runner bit, but we still have a long way to go. And yeah, if you fall off, you get a game over. Okie dokie. Thank you all for watching. Let me go find somebody to raid. Oh, you know, Maya raided me last time. She's probably about to end, but I'll go raid her. All right, I'll be back tomorrow. It'll just be a morning stream, and we will see what we can get done. Thank you, and goodbye, everybody.